Hey, what's up, fam? And welcome back again to Recap Kickback. It's me, your host, Chappell, and we are here to talk to you about what I would consider the hottest documentary on television right now. The one that everybody's talking about, streets are buzzing. It's the Reality Check: America's Next Top Model documentary. And with me to talk about it, I've established a panel of esteemed judges here from their different walks of fashion entertainment. And so with me, noted fashion photographer Mari.
That was good. Oh my gosh. I have been waiting to talk to some people about this documentary because it seems like everybody around me don't understand the magnitude of America's Next Top Model and how it affected my life specifically. So I'm glad to be amongst some Antm super fans. I feel that's safe to say here.
Yes, another Antm super fan along with us for this ride. Y'all know her already as Gia, but I will call her the fashion stylist, noted fashion stylist Gia Worthy. Gia, welcome back.
Mr. J. I want to be Miss J, but I understand. Fine, I'll be Mr. J. It's fine. But I am so happy to be here with these other three wonderful people, and I can't wait to talk about it. I feel like there was a recurring theme in us talking about shows that I watched as a child that I definitely should not have watched. I'm like, this aged terribly, but that's also just early 2000s reality TV. So I'm excited to talk about what we watched with Reality Check, but I also just am so excited to talk about some of the amazing panelists that we got during the 3-part docuseries, because they were some of my favorite models to root for watching the show. So let's get to it. I'm excited.
Yes, and before we jump in, we have to introduce our last panelist, the world's first supermodel, Haley Strong.
I'm like 9 inches too short to be a supermodel.
The first one ever, though. Like literally.
First one ever. There's like no blueprint. So they're like, yeah, that little shorty over there. Like literal shorty. I'm like, don't even touch 5'3" most days. I'm thrilled to be that. But I'm hopefully nicer than Janice was.
Should not be hard.
It doesn't take much.
The bar is low there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also thrilled to be here. I like to consider myself one of America's Next Top Models foremost historians. I've consumed way too much top model content in my existence, and it has probably permanently damaged my body image. Like the age of 10.
Really?
I mean, that's fair. I called you a supermodel and you immediately went like, no, I'm too short for that.
Yeah,
you know?
I am too short. That's what they would have said. They would even.
That was the first thing she thought.
Yeah, I'm way too short.
Well, Haley, I understand you recently did a rewatch of America's Next Top Model. When was the last time you checked out a lot of these seasons?
That's a good question. I feel like a top model is something like I've always kind of loved, and I can't help myself. I've watched like every iteration of like an English speaking top model franchise. And then I've rewatched a lot of the seasons over and over, most recently in the fall, because Pluto TV, thank you, Pluto TV, had like every season up for free. You could just watch them all. And it was, God, it was so good. It's so good. I love it so much. And it was like perfect timing, honestly, because that happened. And then I've read two reality TV heavy books this year. Cue the Sun by Emily Nussbaum, and then You Want to Be on Top by Sarah Hearthstone, who was a contestant on Top Model. Both like really interesting perspectives on reality TV. So I was like hoping this would kind of like add to it, but this, I would say, I feel like I didn't learn anything new.
Really?
Not really. Like I feel like I've been in the Reddit threads for years and years and years.
Yeah.
This is like not new information. I don't even know if it like added new perspectives of things for me. I think it just reinforced everything I've been thinking. And and like it was crazy to see, and like I'm so glad that these women were able to tell their stories on their own terms, because that obviously didn't happen. That was just like a facet of what reality television was back then.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was. It is not like that anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
talk about Top Chef in this lens, in that like you can really see the evolution of reality TV and like what people are looking for in Top Chef, because in those early seasons it was very like dramatic and fighting, and now it's like everybody, you want everybody to be friends and like just cook really well. I feel like that's across all of reality TV. All reality television was like this in the early
Yeah.
on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm glad that these women are finally able to tell their stories on their own terms. And Tyra is insane. Like she's like I don't have a PhD, but like she's probably diagnosable.
Yeah, Mari, you seem like this isn't new information for you either. Were you also in the Reddit streets, or is this just stuff you picked up over the years of being a fan?
All of the above. Not Reddit. I don't normally go on Reddit, but being chronically online, it is kind of ghetto. Being chronically online, like following some of these girls, knowing the backstories, reading some of these books. I saw when this backlash started, because during COVID, the Jays had their own rewatch series, and I was watching them rewatch and talk about that series. It should still be up on YouTube. And it's now making me realize that I wonder if they had stopped because of what happened to Miss J, because they were on a roll. I had started rewatching with them. I think I had rewatched the first like 3 or 4 seasons with them as they were going along, and then I got pregnant and had a baby, all that. And but they did not touch on a whole bunch of stuff that real super fans know. Like they didn't talk about the drama between what happened on America's Next Top Model All Stars. They didn't talk about, like, they only mentioned Les Moonves. Also, fuck that guy. Like they didn't talk about a lot of like actual well-known America's Next Top Model scandals. So I was looking for a little bit more. I think what this documentary gave to me that I really wasn't expecting, I guess, was revisiting those moments of these well-known moments that have been seared into my brain since I was like 13, 14, and seeing them from a whole new perspective. Which, like I said, I shouldn't say maybe I wasn't expecting that, but it was like a trip down, not only just a trip down memory lane, but like really being like, oh my God, like this isn't, this isn't right. And not in a way that like, duh, girl, where you been at? But it was just like, actually feeling it, seeing like I know we'll talk about it, but Shandi, I immediately text Chappell and I was like, yo, Shandi's story is gutting me right now. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's a lot. I can't wait to talk about it. But if you are in the know, none of this is really shocking.
Yeah. I am not like an America's Next Top Model super fan, but I was alive during the time where this show was on. And so you couldn't miss it. It was such a big deal. But to me, like Haley and Mari are obviously very in the know about the things that were happening. But I was I guess I'm the target audience for the people who were like very shocked by the behind the scenes stuff, the stuff that happened on screen. I've been thought that was crazy. I thought that was crazy in the first place. I thought that's why we were all watching the show. So what was your reaction to seeing some of the footage that we didn't necessarily see on our TV screens?
Well, first of all, Chappell, one does not willingly become an America's Next Top Model fan. You just are like absorbed by osmosis into the fandom because this is what people were talking about during the time that it was airing, especially in the earliest seasons. Like that, you just had to exist. You were alive. That's the requirement. You're America's Next Top Model viewer at the very least. But I would say that my experience is a little bit different than yours, but also a little bit different than Mari and Haley. This was a show I loved. America's Next Top Model when I was watching it when I was younger. I would watch like with my parents. Like, we would sit down and watch all these reality TV shows together. And especially through like the handful of seasons we watched, like, you know, like season 4 or 5 through season, I want to say like 12 or something like that. And then kind of like as the show was kind of taking a dip in interest, so was like me watching the show more consistently. So, and I definitely watched some of the older seasons because they used to be doing reruns on like VH1 or MTV. They would just like air a whole season in a day. So you would catch kind of some of the older episodes as well. But once I stopped watching it, I wasn't, you know, like I wasn't incredibly interested in returning to it. You know, it had its moment in the sun and I loved watching it when I did, and then kind of faded out. It definitely didn't help with any self-esteem issues I had around those ages that I was watching it. But once, you know, it was also one of those things, like a lot of early 2000s reality TV, that you think about it as content creators in reality TV. And I love watching TikToks right now about people analyzing like old episodes of reality TV. So, but I wasn't really involved in any type of fandom during that time. It would be more, I watched the show, would not think about it too much for the rest of the week, and then I'd watch it again when the new episode comes on in the next episode. So not all of this information was really surprising, but I definitely learned a lot from this documentary about like the production process, what exactly was going to go on. And while we knew, like, obviously this could not be healthy for the people participating in this show, like a lot of the stuff in there afterwards, you're thinking about it now in this lens, and okay, this really can't be like great for the people that participated in the show. But now getting to hear some of those models, the contestants that I was rooting for, and then now seeing them like actually talk about their experience, I think that was the highlight of the whole docuseries for me, was being able to hear them from their own words. Some of them were very complimentary about certain aspects of their experience, and then others were given the truth about what an unhealthy environment it was. And I think that it was important that we got that context with it, that this type of entertainment does come with a price, a lot of the times at the expense of the people most vulnerable, which are the people that put themselves out there to be recorded in this environment.
Yeah, to me, one of the most fascinating thing about America's Next Top Model is the contestants. They are starting off so young a lot of times, and we know that their career trajectory is being a model. But unlike like American Idol or like other competition shows, you can't really track what happens to them as much as you can, right? So like American Idol, we know you made it big because we heard your song on the radio. You know, if it's Top Chef, we know you made it big because we saw your restaurant, you know. But for America's Next Top Model, it's kind of like, where are these women going? You know, what happened to them? And so I think over the years, I would just use like BuzzFeed articles and stuff like, where are they now? America's Next Top Model. And it's always the same 5 or 6, you know, breakout people that you just can't forget. But you're always wondering, okay, like we saw them take such great pictures. Clearly they got to be doing something. And so when you bring in some of those big names for this, Haley, we finally got to hear their version of the events. And like you said, it's out there, but for the first time, we kind of get the firsthand account of them all just speaking to it, and speaking to it in a place where Tyra can respond to it. Now, Tyra's response, you know, you can take or leave that, I guess.
Yeah, I found Tyra extremely frustrating. I don't think I'm alone in that. It was really interesting to hear Danny's story. I think Danny's probably like our collective favorite contestant ever from this show. Season 6 has been my favorite. A couple of years ago, Chappell, we did, I don't know if you remember.
We did.
A top model podcast. I don't remember why. I don't remember why
the
we did that.
RHAP Rewind was going through different shows in reality TV history, and I was taking Rob through that, and Rob had never seen America's Next Top Model, which means he didn't know what he's talking about.
And I made you watch season 6 because that's my favorite. I think the Joni Danielle final 2 is the best final 2 in top model history. It was so crazy to hear Danny's story about what a struggle it was afterwards for her, because she's so stunning. She's so talented. Hearing her perspective on getting her gap closed, because that was crazy, and being able to like talk about like Joni, and then Joni being able to be there and talk about her own experience. I would say the thing I was most surprised about was like Danny's disdain towards the show, I guess. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, she has a lot to have disdain for, you know.
Yeah, deservedly so. She has earned it.
She was probably the fan favorite of that season for sure. She goes
like
on to win
every season of all time. Like she's everyone's favorite,
and she wins it. You know, kind of being like almost like unapologetically herself, right? Like she has this gap. Tyra's saying like, you'll never work in this business. You won't win the game if you don't close your gap. And she's like, I'll close it a little bit. You know, so you have a lot of respect for Danny. Then you see her win, and you're thinking, oh yeah, this young Black woman who Tyra speaks so highly of, who kind of, you know, speaks up for herself, and she's very pretty. She's taking all these good photos. Surely, Mari, she's going to have a modeling career, only to find out that not only did she struggle, but Tyra Banks knew she was struggling and didn't even offer to help.
When I tell you, if I was Danny, I would own 51% of everything. I'm telling you, it is Danielle's next top model, because what the fuck, man? Excuse my language, but like, I felt so bad for her. She seemed like, again, one of the most capable winners. She had the look, she had the style, she had the posing, she had it all down. She had the personality, she had everything. And to hear her recount what happened to her after top model, like this, I was like, this is what I love. This is what I came for. Hearing that she was in a model house with Chanel Iman, and that she literally just sat in there, just pissed me the hell off, right? But it made sense, because the whole thing is, oh, the prize package is a contract with Ford's top model. That contract, those Wilhelmina models, Ford models, like I only know those modeling agencies because of America's Next Top Model.
Yeah, like Elite, and like it was funny. Whitney,
yes,
Whitney was talking about how she won a prize package with a modeling agency that didn't represent plus size models at all. What are they supposed to do? Adrienne Curry, I know she's insane, but she like talks about how like her Revlon package like was not what it was supposed to be, and you know the prize packages these women were told that they were getting were it was a I can't think of the expression, but it was just like wasn't what they were promised.
It was kind of like a monkey's paw, right? Because like I watched this with my dad. My family is in town, so I watched this with my dad, and he expressed what I was thinking. All these companies, CoverGirl, Revlon, Elite Models, Ford Models, they sign a contract with America's Next Top Model. You know what I'm saying? They sign a contract with them. They're not signing a contract with the winner. They've already signed the contract with America's Next Top Model. So when the winner strolls in the door, like Danny said, she strolled in the door, and it felt like everybody was like, I guess we have to let her in. It's because they signed the contract, and they are technically fulfilling their side of the contract by just giving her a modeling contract. That contract probably didn't say, oh, and you have to book her gigs. Oh, and you have to actually try and represent her and get her jobs. And the fact that Danny did go fulfill her side of Portia, become a working model, and she's just sitting in the model house while Chanel Iman and all these other models who weren't on America's Next Top Model are going on gigs. And then to be told that Chanel asked like, why wasn't Danny getting gigs? And they're basically like, oh, we have to treat her differently because her contract is different from these other models. They are fulfilling their end just by having her there. And it sucks because you would think you've already, paid, you've already established this contract with this person. Why is there not an agent there who would take an interest in wanting to do something with her. And the fact that Danny was saying that some designers wouldn't want to book her because she would take away from the designers. I'm like, again, this is that stupid early 2000s thinking, because I know from a Black cultural standpoint, for us, we loved our Black top models. We rallied around Eva. We rallied around Takara. We rallied around Yaya. We loved some Danny. If you had put Danny on a Paris Fashion Week, or on a catwalk, or Angels, whatever, Victoria's Secret Angels, we would have watched. But that's the thing. They don't care about us. You know what I'm saying? It's like, whose bucks do they care about? And that's how narrow the industry was back then. And that's why they could do things like offer these contracts and not push the girls if they didn't feel like pushing them. And it was just, I was pissed for Danny. I was like really pissed for her. And I still think, even in her being upset at Tyra and having so much ire towards her, she still showed grace in it, because I think she could have cussed her all the way the fuck out, to be quite
Yeah,
honest.
met her in the parking lot.
Yeah.
To me, Tyra is the villain, but also, Mara, you pointed out, the industry is the biggest villain, right? Like it is the world where this stuff is allowed to go on unchecked and to be normalized, to where, Gia, if someone says, oh, well, I had to bleed for this, I had to get my mouth fixed for this, I had to cut my hair for this, I had to cry for this, I had to, do all this crazy stuff. For fashion, it's like, okay, well, that's just how it is, and we got to hear a lot of people's points of view about how, we took it on the chin because it was fashion, Gia.
And this is the thing that really irritated me about the documentary as a whole. And not in that, like, the way that it was produced, right? Like, I think they did overall a good job with, like, kind of laying the groundwork of what the theme of this documentary was going to be and, like, the type of topics they were going to cover. But anytime somebody in some form of position of power, a host, one of the judges or experts, or the like producers, anybody that did anything behind the scenes, essentially, anytime they were addressed with their own actions, there was no apology. There was no genuine apology, I should say. There was no apology. There was no like come to Jesus moment, or any type of like, oh, well, that was a horrible thing to say or do. It was a lot of, this is what the fashion industry is like, or this was a product of the time. This is what you guys wanted as the viewers. Tyra was 10. Okay. I don't know what I don't even know what I want for breakfast. Okay. Like that, let's be real for a second. But it's like, it was not people being accountable for their actions. And yes, of course, we know, especially now that during the time that Top Model was airing, we obviously don't know the long-term effects of reality TV, especially competition shows, on its contestants, especially for something like Top Model, because reality TV in this form had only been around for about like 5 or 6 years at that point, like relatively new. But and especially not something where you're a model, like your body, your face, all of you is like essentially treated as a product. Yes. So we know that, and in what they're doing, they're being informed by, only what they know, what the industry is like. But even now, like, we are in 2026 now. I'm assuming this documentary was filmed last year. So in like the 20 years since the show started, and you've had all this time to reflect, you've certainly seen some of your actions. And then the only thing that people had to say for it was that either it was the industry, and we have to acknowledge how tough the industry is, that industry meaning like the fashion modeling industry, or it was a product of the time, like, that was just what reality TV was in the early 2000s. We already know all this stuff, but you guys haven't given any time to actually reflect or apologize for how your actions had negative impacts on the people that were vulnerable to it. And I can't remember who actually says it, but a lot of the women that were on this show, or because it was except for the last 2 seasons were women on the show, they were only it was only mostly women, but they are women that come from a lot of vulnerable backgrounds, either financially, socially, it's some type of marginalized community. They don't have a lot of support in their family or in the world around them, especially hearing from some of the people that we saw on the documentary. So it's just, it felt gross to watch, but it was worse to see how there was so little apologies or any type of accountability for how they were complicit in all of this.
I thought Mr. J was particularly egregious in that. I expected nothing from Tyra. Like, I think she's blowhard. Like obviously she has led like an industry. She was an important person in the industry. I think having that show has like changed her brain chemistry in such a way that she cannot comprehend the negative effects she had on people in any meaningful way. I thought it was wild how Mr. J was not able to say, I was also so mean to those girls every photo shoot. I was doing, like, it was just like Tyra this, Tyra that. It was Tyra, it was Ken, it was this. It was never, I was doing these terrible things as well. And like, Mr. J was probably meaner than anyone else except maybe Janice and maybe Paulina Porskova. Like, consistently mean to those girls, said rude things, said like terrible things about them behind their back, etc., etc.
We'll talk. We'll definitely talk about that. Let's talk about Tyra, okay? Because very much, we got to. You can't talk about the show, or especially this documentary without talking about Tyra as much as she would like to kick the can down the road and make it about somebody else. This is very much her baby. Her face was attached to it, and we all know Tyra's villain origin story, right? Like, she talked about it constantly in the 90s and the 2000s, where it's like, I was, a model. It was me and my mom, and I was going to go see, and I was hitting the pavement, and I was bullied by the other supermodels, like the other models. Naomi Campbell wouldn't let me in. We all know that. We saw it, and it was such an ingrained part of her story that Tyra she kind of made it where there shouldn't have been a way for her to make it. Her body size, she was like scoffed at. She was a Black woman. There were things. She had all these obstacles, and she goes and she decides, okay, this can be a show. I can make this into a reality competition show, like some of these other shows. She goes to Ken Mock, who is an expert in making reality TV, and they come up with this idea with the America's Next Top Model format of, you teach the models how to do a thing, they do a competition, they do a challenge, they do a runway, they get judged, we eliminate them, and then the last one is the one to win this contract. But the struggles that Tyra went through and what really informed her decisions on what to put these women through, because she kind of feels like, because I was so battle tested, because I had to deal with all of this stuff, it's okay for y'all to deal with this stuff too. And Mari, it's like, okay, Tyra, you might have dealt with some stuff, but you ain't deal with all this stuff. Like, let's stop it. Stop playing. It's shenanigans all over this lady.
It's very like, I beat my kids because society will beat them. So society does.
I was beat. I was beat,
exactly.
And my mom was
and
beat,
look at me.
So,
look how I turned out. Exactly.
Right. I made it.
Emotionally crippled. But
right.
like exactly. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? So did Tyra initially want this to be a door to introduce diversity and inclusion to the modeling industry? Maybe. Is that what it became? No. Watching, I remember, seeing and watching, especially the first episode talked a lot about season 1. And I remember watching season 1 and seeing like the weigh-ins and stuff like that, and hearing Haley and Gia talk about how it had an effect on maybe what they perceive their body type. Me personally, I even at 13, I was like, I would never do this, but I will sit here and I will judge you, girl. Like, why are you throwing up in the toilet? Elise, stop throwing up. It's not that serious.
What's that Boondocks meme that like wouldn't let that shit happen to me though?
Yeah, exactly. Like, but like again, watching this documentary and realizing they're like, oh, like this might have triggered a whole bunch of like eating disorders around the country. I was like, dang, I didn't really think about it like that, because yeah, they are weighing these girls on national television, and baby, those weights were nowhere close to what I weighed at 13. When I was 13, I was still heavier than some of these grown women at 13, and I was like, eating my bag of chips, like, girl, you 2 pounds over. Like,
you need to lose weight. What are you're never gonna make it in this industry. Haley, the show creates people who are hypercritical of themselves, but also hypercritical of everyone else. Everybody's in at home a judge of these people and get dragged into the vortex of being harsh to women.
Yeah, if there's one thing the early 2000s loved, is being mean to young women who are just trying to make it. If you can believe it, that's still happening now. It was just like a crazy time to be growing up and like being cognizant of like media and what's happening around you, because it's just like, it wasn't just this show that was criticizing women's bodies. It's like it was everything. It was everything. Like, no woman was right at that point. And they were just following, and it was a direct reflection of the society we were in at the time.
Yeah. And it's a wonder. People were just passing up on this show. Not so much, I don't think, because they were like, oh, this show is going to be bad for women long term. But Tyra couldn't sell this show to anybody until she finally landed on our favorite network, UPN.
Good old UPN.
Just, of course it's UPN. Looking back, I spent a lot of time watching UPN, so this show was right in front of me. But UPN gives Tyra the start, and it's like, oh yeah, UPN, they're gonna rule. They're like, all these other companies and networks are gonna rule the day. They passed up on America's Next Top Model because it becomes so big. But hindsight being what it is, you kind of like, you got to dodge the bullet with that one long time, right? Like, no one's blaming them for this.
Can I just say, before we go into like the real big horrors of America's Next Top Model, because it was bad. Can I just say that first half of that episode, I was sipping the Kool-Aid a little bit, like,
this is the show
that absolutely.
This is what raised us.
Because people are trying to pretend like, oh my God, it was so bad. I knew back then it was trash. Lies. You are liar. Lies.
I hate all this
shit.
That like the whole TikTok thing annoyed me, and just like showing all of these people being like, can you believe that's how they treat? Yes, I can. That was the early 2000s, and like,
I was tuned in.
You were there doing that too. You were saying that stuff. You're lucky they didn't have TikTok then with your bad opinions about things. Like, you weren't in these reality TV streets like we were. Like, the collective of us have been like critically watching reality TV before we even knew that's what we were doing.
Thank you.
And to like sit here and be like, can you believe what they were doing? Yes, I can believe it. Because that's what reality TV was doing. That's what society was doing. And then they mashed it together in one crazy show and said, you're not skinny enough, or like, how about we change your skin color for the Got Milk commercial? Like, it was just so many things where it was like, that's what they thought reality TV had to be, and we watched it because it was bananas. It was crazy, and we had to watch it. And like, I was in it for the drama. You like the drama. I also like the pretty photo shoots. Like, I liked photos. It was nice to look at. I liked pretty people.
When I tell you, 13-year-old me was like, man, they could have went lighter for Kenya. She does not look Korean enough to me.
Look Korean enough. And Brittany not dark enough. Honestly, if you're going blackface.
Like, I feel like even as like a child watching that, I was like, this is not right. Like, we should not be doing this. Like, this is wrong. This is not okay.
I wish I could say I had like the like fully formed frontal lobe at that point to be like, this was wrong, but you're right.
Yeah.
It's like, you get the idea that this can't possibly be healthy for everyone that's participating, but you don't
Yeah,
think
and
about
then
the long-term repercussions while we're
and like
watching.
I feel like we just also like had different perspectives on things, not just because like we were 14, but also because like you look back on it now and you're like, oh my god, of course Shandy's situation was a sexual assault.
Oh my
Like, of course
god.
it was.
Ugh.
Or like, of course Kenya was in the right, that she didn't want to be touched by this guy. And she was so brave to say it in front of everyone, and they all just
Mhm.
stared back at her. Or just calling Whitney like not having, for her and Dakar not having proper clothing when they know that there
Dakar,
is somebody
the queen.
there to like clothe like that. Like it was like, it's just so upsetting that there is so many instances where you just go, oh my god, of course that's what that was. And at that time you were just like, she made like a mistake, or oh, like is she being dramatic about that, or like what? I don't know.
It's the industry.
I will say that,
look it up.
like, yeah, the Shandi one was the only one that I really was like, oh my god, that was sexual assault, girl. Because all the rest of it, you know what I'm saying? Like, all the rest of it, like, I was here with Takara and Ebony. I was there. Like, I was like, you're not about to make this black girl look crazy. Like, you know, I was there for that. And to me, it was just kind of like we know our truths, but I didn't realize how many people didn't see that side, you know what I'm saying? But I agree. I mean, I don't know, I'll let Chappell cue it up, but the Shandi story was quite honestly the most heartbreaking thing, and really made me reevaluate like a lot of that.
Yeah. I think the way the documentary is formatted is perfect, because it does really throw you back into that season 1 feel of like America's Next Top Model fever, right? It's like it's happening, people are loving it. You're getting those, like, you're remembering like, oh, that's Ebony. I wonder what happened to Giselle. Okay, Shannon. I remember Shannon. She might have been robbed. Who knows? You know. And so
Shannon was not robbed. I just want to like give a little bit of Shannon lore right now, and like
Please give Shannon lore.
She's a massive transphobe, and also she left her first husband by cheating on him with her pastor.
Ooh, pastor,
who was also
Shannon.
married.
Pastor,
so Christian.
But
Fill
also
up the Shannon doc.
Very Christian.
There's no what is it? There's no love like Christian hate, or there's no love like
there's
Christian
no
hate
hate like Christian love.
Like his
There we
Christian
go.
love. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Gia.
But also like I'm not surprised by any of
Yeah.
this information.
No,
but also,
but-
would I watch a 3-part docuseries on like
Absolutely.
that
Tuning in.
story?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Give me the
Which
Shannon
is
story.
probably why shows like America's Next Top Model were so successful, because people like me were like,
because we're
I would absolutely watch that.
We're crazy people who like drama, and there's a lot of drama on the TV screens back then. But it really did kind of immerse you back in that feel of like, yeah, I remember when Elise was going off in the confessional, you know, about them, just like, Elise used to rip those girls a new one. I'm talking about just go down the list, you know, like Courtney Yates could never. Like, it's
I
like,
dislike
I'm talking
her
about
so much.
right, just stupid bitches, you know, like she would just go in, and you're like, man, Elise is cutting them up. But then
again, that was like a product of society too, where it was like women were being pit against, and if you liked having blonde hair and makeup, you were vapid and stupid, and if you didn't, then you could be smart and pretend that you were better than everyone. Like, Elise, you were also on America's Next Top Model, girl.
It took her half the season to figure that out, Haley.
I always hated that Elise just wouldn't say it to their face. I didn't care about any of the other stuff. I was just like, but you wouldn't say it to her face though. You in this confessional though.
So that's the thing. So we watched it from the TV perspective, but the documentary kind of turns the camera to the contestants, and now we're watching them watch it. And imagine how that feels, right? You just played this, you just did this modeling opportunity of a lifetime. I'm thinking of like Giselle and Ebony, where they're like, nah, I put myself through this. I thought this was going to be a transformative. I'd be an inspiration for younger women and all this other stuff, only to find out not only are they calling me fat, but they're also calling me stupid and skinny and all this other stuff at the same exact time. And Gia, in episode 1, the shift begins to happen, right? Where you're no longer the fan, and you're more like watching this like, oh, this isn't, I don't know about this.
It's where we start to really piece together not only what the documentary is about, but like how this show got so popular, because like Mari said, when the first like 30 minutes of episode 1, you're kind of like feeling like yes, this was the show I was raised on. This is like when I was watching this every night, like, or every week. This was this, and to, you know, not to give Tyra or any of these people credit, but this was one of the first shows I saw where Black women were consistently shown on there, and like from the very beginning, and like they were not just the Black contestant, they had their own personality and their own story going in there. But that doesn't mean that we didn't see a lot of people get made fun of or be poked at, and their Blackness would be a part of that, just like everything else that happened with this show. I was really glad when we saw Ebony from Cycle 1 in there. She looks gorgeous, by the way. Like, girl, drop the secret in the chat, please. But about her experience, where she was very open with being gay, and she lived with her girlfriend, and that she was happy that they got to see that in the episode. But like the way they presented her being gay by just like saying it, as opposed to pulling her aside and saying, how would you like to address this, and then going into all the issues she faced while she was in the show. It's like, it's really not about the things we want it to be about. You know, the show is there to be a source of entertainment and to cause drama for its viewers. And even if it started as something, there were things that we took away from it that were positive, like more Black representation on TV. That does not mean that there still aren't things that needed to be fixed and that could have been done better.
Yeah, and Tyra will go on to blame her bosses for a lot of these decisions. You know, she talks about Les Moonves, Kim Maka's obviously in this one as well. But Mari, you know, Tyra's like, yeah, they told us that we had to do these things, and so I had to go pick on the contestants because they wanted it. We brought in Janice Dickinson because we needed a Simon Cowell type judge, because that was what was popular back then. And so Janice comes in, she's making fun of everybody's weight, and it's starting to even hit Tyra, because, you know, Janice is calling these very small women cows and all kinds of crazy stuff. But Tyra's like, that's just the industry. That's what they wanted. What was I supposed to do?
I mean, it's again passing the buck when it's like, Tyra, you told us out of your mouth that you stood up for yourself in the modeling industry itself. So you're telling me you can't stand up for these girls on a show that you are executive producing and you are the host? Girl, I remember you're the one on these judging panels saying, I handpicked all of these photos. like, oh, you was out here taking the pictures. So don't you come at me and be like, well, you know, it was just what was going on. Oh, they asked me to talk about cheating in front of Shandi. Girl, stop it. Just say I went too far in making a TV show. I lost sight of what we were here to do. I started focusing on making a TV product that would maintain its cultural viability, and I messed up. And
I was making so much money, and I didn't want to stop making so much money on the back of all these women that we are giving $40 a day to, so they can buy their groceries.
There was so much money. What was I supposed to do? Haley, I know you spoke on Jay Alexander, but like, speak about Miss J, like basically the entire judging panel, the ones that we got, but also the ones we didn't get, about how maybe the way this environment was kind of encouraging them to step away from their natural humanity and be even meaner people. Because I mean, what, he didn't tell that girl that she was going to go back and work at Burger King. Like, some of the stuff he was saying, he's like, oh, it was shady. Like, no, that shit was mean.
and again, in that first season, it's so wonderful to see people like Miss J on television. Like, you know, you're coming from a small town, you're not introduced to people like Miss J very often, and so gorgeous and cool and fun. And then it's turned into like, oh, you want me to be mean to the girls for a soundbite, and that sucks. And like, yeah, we look at it as like shady business now, but the girls weren't like having an opportunity to like clap back, I guess. So like it wasn't like a fair fight. Like it was just a bunch of young women who were chasing their dreams and trying to learn something and were very impressionable and didn't know what else to do. And we're being like psychologically tortured as well. Like they were locked in buildings together and couldn't do anything, and they were hungry.
Yeah. The supercut, Mari, of all the like people throwing up and passing out and all this stuff. He's like, is this a modeling competition? Like, why are so many people going to the hospital?
When I tell you that did not click to me
in
like
the real
really
time.
growing up, yeah, because at that time we're just going with what we're force fed as a story arc, right? So I clearly remember the Elise storyline from episode 1, and people are like, she's not eating anything. Look, she just went into the bathroom right after she ate. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember that storyline, but then seeing like the supercut of all the models passing out, I forgot Danny got that sick on her season, and Rebecca straight up passed out. I remember that,
and got eliminated the same episode.
Yeah, and I could have sworn they tried to say that she passed out because of some other reason, and my dumb behind was like, yeah, that makes sense. It didn't. It did not click that like, yeah, these girls are running around shooting this show all day and are trying to cut weight, so they're eating 2 pieces of lettuce and water, and that on top of that they are being mentally drained because of, again, these judges hurling horrible insults at them. Imagine eating 2 pieces of lettuce and then Janice Dickinson saying you look like you're 35 years old. Like,
I would be so hangry.
Yeah,
I would probably leap at Janice. Like, I'm not joking. Like, if I miss one meal by 1 hour, I am miserable.
So I don't understand how they did it. And the fact that so for all who don't know, E is running a show called Dirty Rotten Scandals, which the second episode will cover America's Next Top Model. We're going to talk about it over on Crime Scene. What we're hearing is Janice Dickinson will be a part of that one. Janice Dickinson is not a good person here, y'all. Like, I mean, in this documentary, they definitely were like, look at Janice, though. Don't forget about Janice. And I'm like, yeah, this is whataboutism, but also, fuck that lady. Like, also, I get it.
Also, Paulina Porskova was awful. Twiggy is not dunked on enough for how awful she was to the girls. She would straight up tell Brooke, like, I just don't like you personally. And Brooke would be like, okay, like, what do you want me to say to that?
Or she'd like call people
chubby.
Yeah,
she's so
that's why Nigel Barker got away with shit for so long. But Nigel, I will be on your ass when we talk about Kenya. I did not forget.
So, yeah, there's so many just like horror stories that, you know, over the years, I think as a fandom or even as people who are watching it with the untrained eye, like kids, basically, I'm talking about kids. I'm not talking about the adults because they have fewer excuses. I will say it was a sign of the times, but for a lot of us, we were watching this as children. So I don't know, personally, I found all this shit hilarious. I thought the show was doing the stuff that the show was like revealing is like, hey, that wasn't a coincidence. I thought that was always understood. There's no way it was a coincidence that Kenya was gluttony and an elephant in the same season.
We saw that. Yeah.
But like, I didn't connect Dion's story in that because I was so focused on JL. So JL had a friend who died of a drug overdose like 2 days before that photo shoot. So like that one, I didn't connect to the dots on that one.
Yeah.
I was thinking of JL's.
Hey, Haley, they threw Kaylin in the grave after her friend died.
That one I knew.
But technically, it was the 7 deadly sins. They were already.
They didn't have to put that girl in the grave. They didn't have to put her in the grave. They didn't have to put her in the grave. Mari, they could have done nothing else.
2 for 1. They were like, okay, Kaylin, dead friend, throw in her grave, and we can call Kenya a little hot by giving her gluttony.
Also, they could have been outside. They could have just been in a cemetery, right? Like they didn't have to be in the ground.
In a building?
They were in the ground, like traitor style.
Use that, Kaylin. Use that. She's in there like screaming, and they're like, "Yeah, use that. That's rad." Look, no, that's grief.
Dion's the one with her mother? No,
Yeah.
Yeah, her mother had
They did
got shot when
I
she was younger.
remember this photo shoot because it was like one of the very first ones of the season, and I always loved when they did like the theme shoots. But it was her. They all had to play like crime scene victims, people that were murdered in different ways. And Dion's mom was shot and killed, and then which they knew about from the application process. And then guess what her death was?
Right, shot in the head. Mari, this was your favorite shoot?
It was.
But you just like don't always think of things like that, like in the moment, like that. It was like a hit where you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't love this one, but because it made me queasy. I don't do well with blood.
Can I say though? Okay, but like it was a really fun photo shoot to watch when you don't know all that information, but or that like production would know this information. I will say though, Dion specifically was like ingrained in my head, and I did not expect to see her here, but I was so glad we did because I always thought she was like the most beautiful top model contestant ever. And the fact that she could rock short hair, which I could never do, but I just loved Dion. I was so excited to see her on this one, but like I just remember her from Top Model, like as a kid being like, this is beauty.
I love that. Can I have that? Yes. Can I have that?
Yes. Please
have that. She just was like, can I have that? And the designer was like, okay.
The theme photo shoots were so good as an audience member, right?
Yes.
I love how Kia said, I couldn't use half of these pictures for my portfolio because they were overly produced. There was too much going on and I had too much makeup. Meanwhile, I'm like, yes, suspend them over a hole and make them take pictures. Waterboard them. Make them pose underwater so I can see the shoot. Like that was the draw to me, the crazy photo shoots. And I had to be like, shut up, Tyra. You know, I don't care if 14-year-old me said, yes, please have them pose in a meat locker wearing a meat bikinis. Like, that don't mean you had to listen. I'm 14.
Tyra said, we do swimsuit photo shoots in the winter to prepare for the summer. So by that standard, we're going to have you posing in your swimsuits in a freezer. I said, that's not how that works. That's not how that works. Haley, they shaved Nina's hair and then put a stupid wig on her. The next episode was like, Nina, you're not wearing that wig. Like, why is the wig is wearing you? It's like, that lady's bald and you're doing a baby doll shoot. They're bald babies. You know, like, why are you doing this to this? They were setting these women up for failure for the plot. And I think this is the first time I've ever seen it acknowledged on the show. But like I said, that was why I watched the show. I literally, I guess because, you know, I'm not the subject matter here. So I'm like watching it like, man, what wacky things can they make these women do next, and or what way can they sabotage them? When they said they don't choose the best photo all the time, I was like, duh.
Yeah. What was her name? Kelly in season 3 or 4. It was like that Levi's ad of everybody combined, and it was just like the worst possible photo of her possible. And he was like, there's no way that's the worst photo. I feel like even 12-year-old me was like, come on, like nobody believes that was the worst or the best photo. We like would see Jay's little screen with like the little photos, and we like, that one's better. I know that.
I can see it from here. Yeah, and so the girls have a ton of horror stories, but even the ones that were the most entertaining, the ones that made the show iconic, they were also laced in just tragedy. You know, we talked about Dion as well, but Mari has alluded to Shandi a couple times. How can you not talk about Shandi in this moment? Shandi cheating on her boyfriend was the storyline that really put the show on the map. I remember watching those clip shows on VH1 and like Year Wrap, the craziest thing that happened in reality TV. And it's Shandi cheating. And it's not the fact that she cheated. And I know this because I laughed at this so many times and I feel so bad. But Shandi cheated, and then she had to call her boyfriend Eric and tell him, and she's crying, and he's like, "How can I hug you?" And I'm like, "Boy, what?" And so, like, child me thought that is TV. I was shocked, Gia, when they said, you know, this is sexual assault. And the moment they said it, the light bulb clicked and I was like, oh my gosh, she was so drunk, wasn't she? And then you go back and you watch it and you see them drinking and you see Shandi, and then to find out that she had to call and even find out if the man used the condom. Shandi is a victim, and it just her story, her trauma had been used to promote the show for so long that nobody even knew.
It was interesting because I did not process this at the time, and I don't think I even watched this this season in real time, because this was what, cycle like two, yeah. So I didn't process it as that when it like, this is one of those things that I like learned secondhand and then like watched the show through on like a rerun, like watch cycle 2 on a rerun and saw it after the fact. But then even watching it like through a rerun when I'm a little older than when like the show came out, it's framed as this scandalous thing that this front runner cheated on her long-term boyfriend and then now has to call him to admit it.
Yeah.
And you think of it as, you know, like, first of all, you don't, you know, like, I think people not, you know, we're not putting 2 and 2 together for how this could be sexual assault. And even now, I will say, when go on some of the comments, if you can stomach it, for either the ads for this or articles that have been posted on this, and people will still say on there in the comments with no context that like Shandi was not sexually assaulted, because she clearly was into it and all this, like, and first of all, that's not how consent works, and
not at all. But this is still like, this seems like very basic stuff now, and we're still having a difficult time letting people know or convincing people that what happened here was not okay. But then on top of it, Shandi goes through like basically like an hour by hour run through from like how the day started. They did their what was that? What's that challenge called? The go-sees, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They do their go-sees. They meet everyone's assigned a model to drive them around and do their go-sees and everything like that. Then they have they bring some wine over. They have, and you know that this is what they're hoping to happen when they're like, oh, let's bring 5 attractive girls in the house, and then we have 5 attractive guys here. What could possibly happen during this time? And then to see the aftermath of it, not just like she has to call her boyfriend. She basically threatened to quit the show and then all of a sudden she got the phone, but they had to record her. They recorded the act as it was happening. They recorded
it's just so crazy. It's just so crazy that nobody, and I know that people were worried about losing their job, but like nobody stepped in and said, we shouldn't be filming this. We shouldn't be nobody could like push, like, who cares about this Italian guy? Push him out, kick him out. Like at what point is it just like humanity of like, oh my God, save this girl, save her.
Outside of whether or not and I'm assuming they thought it was good TV because they're thinking of it as like this girl's cheating on her boyfriend. But also
she was barely conscious in this like recording that they had.
She did not get any privacy for the entire day or the day afterwards. So she couldn't even process what happened on her own. She didn't remember what happened.
Yeah. Even if she was cheating, Mari, I don't think often the cameraman will stand there and watch you cheat either. You know, like that's like a night vision camera kind of situation. You mean to tell me they're standing in the room like, do more?
Apparently, because they said, Jay Manuel said that there was a rule, like if you go into the bathroom by yourself, no cameras follow you in there. But if you go in the bathroom with somebody else, then the cameras are allowed to. And unfortunately, this Italian man took her into the shower and they started having sex in the shower, which meant that they could record all of that. And then I guess the bedroom too, like that was kind of crazy to me. You had full-blown cameramen just sitting there,
standing there with a boom mic, like
that doesn't make sense to me. But and it's maybe because we grow it's now the era of Love is Blind, the ultimatum. It's like Married at First Sight. The cameras are in the already in the room. They forget about the night vision, that we call it the security cam footage. They forget about that. But if it's true that a cameraman has to sit there and record that whole sexual assault, I agree with Haley. It's not like, okay, well, we're clearly not stopping it. Maybe we should at least stop filming it. You know what I'm saying? If you're just gonna sit there and let it happen, let's maybe not film this, because this is, again, America's Next Top Model going on broadcast television. This is not porn. This is not, none of this is usable. And thank God / I don't know that the whole Janet Jackson Super Bowl boob fuck Les Moomes thing happened, so that they had to cut it down.
Jay was saying is that it was oh, such a shame, like it got cut
Mark,
down.
yeah, he said it like that. Yeah.
It was just like,
he's like, we had to scale it back. Like, you intended on putting that on camera?
You shouldn't have recorded any of it if you had to scale it back because it was so crazy. Like, turn your camera off. Like, the girl was barely conscious. Like, anyone could see that.
Watching this back after the lens of, like, you know, rape culture being under examination the past few years, after the Me Too movement, of course, more conversation about consent. Like I said, this part really had a profound effect on me, because I was like, I cannot believe that we sat there and we laughed at this woman's sexual assault for decades, because we just thought it was so dramatic. Oh, you cheated on your boyfriend. And it was also the small town of it, right? She came from a small town. It's that fall of the small town girl. Like that, literally there are Broadway plays about that. You know, the small town girl comes from her small town. She moves to New York, big dreams in her eyes, and she ends up in Milan and doing something that she wasn't supposed to do. That's going to have big ramifications on her back home. Like, it was literally a fat, juicy storyline that America's Next Top Model kept feeding to us. She's a cheater. She's a cheater. Look what she did. Look what she did. To the fact that we all look past it, like, oh my God, this girl, she said she had 2 bottles of wine. We know they were already barely eating, and she barely remembers getting into the hot tub. And that really hit me. And I was like, damn, I felt so bad for Shandi. I felt so bad watching her talk about it here. And it doubly pissed me off when they showed her on the Tyra show, and Tyra showing it back to her face. Again, does Tyra know how to squabble? Because somebody need to test her gangster. Because why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Do you remember? I know, of course, you remember this, but it's very much like those Survivor Thailand vibes of like, oh, ha ha, he, Ted and Gandia, and then let's laugh about it at the reunion special.
Yeah, and you know, we could probably provide examples, if not about this topic specifically, something adjacent to this in all of our favorite shows at some point. Like, it happened on Survivor, in season 5, and then 30 plus seasons later as well. And it's happened. They've had adjacent incidents like this on Big Brother. This is a common, luckily not as common anymore, but the challenge. I don't watch the challenge really, but I'm sure.
Bachelor in Paradise. So
all of these shows have something like this, where it's supposed to be this scandalous storyline, and really it's just like at the absolute best, very like a non-consensual situation, but in real time it's actually like sexual assault. Like, you know, we are, or that it's like it's murky on whether the consent is there or not, and it still should not be tolerated. But this was so normalized, and usually it is violence against women that was normalized in some way or another. And there were other acts of violence, or what I would consider like violent acts against the women that competed on these shows, not limited to the incidents that we saw in this docuseries.
Right. So they're like, I think that's probably the most tragic tale here, but there's definitely others, right? I think that, you know, watching Joni and Danny's mouth surgery and stuff like that, also, like, these are like traumatic moments that they really play up for TV, and it's good TV until you really break down that these people are spending, you know, 9-10 hours getting their mouth ripped apart. And Haley, to find out that Joni's mouth surgery wasn't even good, that she still has mouth problems, like, I would at least think that she'd be all right.
I was not shocked to hear that. I felt like everything they did was so shoddy. Honestly, hearing, like, knowing what they've done with like hair and like how like I don't want to diminish the skills of a hairdresser, like very skilled. I could not do it. But like hair to like ruin hair and like get bad people for hair, I do not trust that they're gonna get good people for teeth.
Well, I mean, think about even I brought up Ebony earlier. Like, that was one of the things she talked about during their the makeover episode is a staple of the show. We know it's coming. It happens very early in the season. Most of the girls are going to go through it, right? Like, we know the makeover is coming. You don't have clippers for black hair. You don't have like
Tyra.
You wanna hype up the fact that your show was opening doors for black girls like you, and you don't even have hair clippers for the girls that you were going to force to go through these traumatic makeovers. Like,
crazy.
Girl, that should have been the first thing you're doing if you're opening up doors for black girls, and you can't even provide them basic equipment.
You open the doors for models, but then you should also be opening the doors for your hairstylist, for your makeup artist, for your like clothes stylist. Like you should be knocking down doors for those people too.
Yeah. You want to have plus size representation, but all of the shoots you do not have clothes for your plus size models.
Yeah, you want to have makeup
on that. I watched Whitney's season. I saw her win, so it was interesting to hear her talk about the aftermath, but also she brought up Takara and that her elimination episode where she was basically given like a bowling alley manager uniform and then was ridiculed for not looking like a model during her shoot. Like
like it's her fault.
Did that. Yeah, that was her. Yeah, that was her fault. Clearly.
And Takara is somebody that they still like have arguments about. Like Nigel and Tyra both say like that was their biggest regret is having Takara go out when she did. But they weren't treating her like they for what? So she could be a punching bag even longer? Like for what reason?
Exactly. And the happening to Takara in season 7, I believe, right, Haley?
I think it was 3 even.
Takara was season 3.
Yeah, season 3. That's the Eva and Yaya season.
She was like she was like the first. Like,
yeah. Whitney was cycle 10, I believe.
Cycle 10, yeah. And I didn't even like how they approached that, because to me it kind of felt like Whitney was like, I played the game, so that's how I won. Like she was like, because she said there was not stuff for me. There wasn't things, but you know, I just kept calm and I didn't really say anything. And she says because I saw Takara and Takara tried standing up, but you know, I was just like, so the message we're trying to say here is get along, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, like, that's the industry, Mari. That's the messaging from day one, is that you can take all this abuse, but it's okay because that's what we expect from you. You know, when that woman comes in and they're like grab her around her waist and they're like, oh, she's perfect. It's like,
ew.
So every woman that's standing in that room is thinking, damn, if that's perfect, maybe I shouldn't have another bite to eat, you know? So yeah, I think the show perpetuates that to where Whitney comes in and she's thinking, well, I can't say nothing, you know, and that's what 7 seasons after Takara. She knows good and well if she speaks up that she could be on the way out, you know. So yeah, the show bred that kind of people just having disdain for themselves and not being able to speak up for themselves. And then when they did speak up for themselves, you know, we got to talk about Kenya. You know, I remember that episode with Kenya dancing in Africa so vividly. And so like when I was watching this moment, I was thinking, oh yeah, this dude was touching all over her, but she stopped the shoot. And then I watched the reaction and they're like, wait a minute, you can't do that. A model would never do that. This is costing time. This is costing money. And like, it takes 0 seconds for him to keep his hands off of her. Like that's not even a big, it's not even a big ask. It's like, stop moaning in my ear. It takes 2 seconds for you to be like, hey, I don't think they even address him at all, Gia.
No, they're mad at her for stopping the shoot because time is money. But even this was there were a lot of frustrating moments. I can't even get my words out. But the thing that made me want to throw my remote at the TV was because I knew this was one of the incidents that at the beginning I was like, I'm glad they have her on to talk about it. And I'm glad even at the time that she stood up for herself. But to see Nigel Barker's ass watch this clip back and watch his response to it, and he only has to say, oh, that was the industry. Fuck you, Nigel. What the hell is wrong with you? All this time to rethink your life choices and you still decide to be an asshole.
It's really hard to be sympathetic to the people who were involved because, like,
I'm not. I can't. I will not bring myself to do it.
It's so
like,
hard
you're trying
that
to say
I choose not to be.
So
I choose
they
not
want
to be
it so
sympathetic.
bad, though. Haley, Jay is like, when Tyra just like, they wouldn't let me leave, and then they end up firing me, and it wasn't fair, and I thought we were better than that, and all this other stuff. I'm like, Jay, you
for me, like, I don't give a
right, because we just watched you. You were there
later.
You were there.
You know they're not better than that.
Yeah, you were there when Kenya stood up for herself. You were in the room. Like, Nigel wasn't there. Tyra wasn't there. You were there. And you were like, oh, that's it. What are you speaking up for yourself for? So now we're supposed to feel bad for you. It's really tough. Even though, there are definitely reasons why you would say, like, yeah, he's kind of mistreated as well. But we don't have time for the judges to be the victims of this.
No, if they were able to sit there and be like, I regret what I said. I was worried about losing my job if I went against the grain. Like, okay, I could like understand where they're coming. Like, I could understand, but like at no point were they like, wow, like I regret my part in this. Like, I shouldn't have done that. Sure, it was the time, but like, we know, like, we should have known better. We should have known better. If Kenya's actively speaking up against how she does not feel comfortable, get that guy off the set. I don't care. Like, get him off the set.
Also, Jay Manuel sending that in an email, and then
now let's talk about it. You want us to believe you and Tyra are such good friends, Mari? That's like me emailing you like, "Hey, by the way, Recap Kickback is done. See you later." Like, I can't call you. You couldn't text.
No face-to-face lunch date. Like,
I guess cell phone plans are so different then. Like, you had to watch your minutes. You could only call after 8 p.m. It costs 25 cents for text.
Yeah,
this is beepers. You could send a little "see you later."
This was that cycle like
I quit.
11. Like we were well past beepers. So yeah, I don't know. The show is very much like the show is very much like Tyra is the villain. And then it's like the judges are the villains, but they're still victims of Tyra. But I don't know. I just feel like after a while,
if their contract would have been renewed, like, they would have continued doing this. Yeah. If Tyra said jump, they would say how high. Like, they love to blame Tyra, but these were 3 grown men who knew better, who frankly knew better.
Yeah. Nigel,
and they're gonna blame Tyra, Tyra's gonna be like, well, I was getting it from the top. You guys were all insane. You guys all knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
And then they're trying to blame us for it. Like, they sat there and was like, actually, it was your fault.
Y'all were crazy.
It was your fault personally for this.
This was your favorite show. What were we supposed to do? Not give you your favorite show?
More blood.
Yeah.
Tyra, I was watching regardless of what was on my screen. Like, you guys told me to enjoy this.
Honestly, I think I used to watch in like 5 parts on YouTube, like because I don't even know if I got UPN. I was watching in insane YouTube clips, just like when copyright laws weren't as strict on YouTube.
Mari, who of the women that we got back on the show, I mean, back in this documentary, were you happiest to see? Like, which storylines from them jump out to you as we kind of get into, like, I guess, speaking of these women in a positive light as opposed to talking about their trauma?
Well, of course, I'm rooting for everybody black. No, I just have to say they all looked amazing. Kenya
All of
is
them.
gorgeous. I started following her Instagram. She is a pose coach. I was like, this girl, the poses, the face. Oh, anyways, Danny, of course, Dion, just amazing. But
So
I
fine.
just have to talk about Queen Bree. I love Bree so much. When I tell you I was a Bree fan, I can tell you where I was when Bree said, "Yeah, I ate it."
And what are we gonna do about it?
And what are we gonna do about it?
what are we gonna do about it?
And what are we gonna
She
do
said,
about it?
now
Because
what?
what are you gonna do?
She said, now
What
what?
are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Oh
Um,
my
I
god!
kind
I love.
I kind
Bree
of
so
want
much.
to rewatch that moment, Mari, because now I'm like, did y'all steal the granola bars? The
Okay,
production
this is what happened.
dropping
Okay,
Red Bulls?
Hey,
yeah,
they know.
so they each got like $40 per day for their food allowance, and a lot of the times they had to like give that money back to production so production could go out and buy their groceries. They had like no clue how much anything costs. They were given like the girls gave production grocery lists, but sometimes they didn't have what they wanted or they didn't have enough money for it. So what I think happened is either like, yeah, production just like didn't give them to her, or like didn't buy them and told them that they did, and Bree just was upset about it. And because it's, you have so little in this world, it's like when your food is messed with, then you're going to mess with people.
Yes.
And at that point, Bree could see the writing on the wall. At that point in the season, I believe she goes out fourth. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right? I think
Like
she's
fourth from the top.
Yes. Yeah. So,
Oh,
but
okay, yeah.
anyways,
Okay, no, you know who's the top five? You know who's the top five? It was in season 5. It was Jayla, Lisa D'Amato,
Lisa.
Bree,
Lisa.
Mhm.
Nick, and Nicole. So I think
Nick and
Bree was
Nicole.
top 3 or top 4.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
top
Yeah,
3
she
or
was
top 4.
she was in top 3. Yeah.
Okay. Wait.
And at that point, she had it, you could tell she was getting consistently negative critiques, and I think she had
Mhm.
been in the bottom like twice in a row then at that point. So you could just see how defeated she was when it came to the what was it, Nutri-Grain bar or something like that.
Listen,
Uh,
I would
granola.
get really
granola,
mad about
yeah.
a Nutri-Grain bar too.
Okay.
I love a Nutri-Grain.
I have an update. So Bree was third.
Mhm.
She was eliminated she was the first person eliminated in the finale episodes, like before they go
Mhm.
to final 2. Jayla was fourth. I forgot about it. Lisa
don't
was
even remember
actually
Jayla.
sixth. And Kim, who I completely
Oh my
forgot
god,
about,
Kim! Of
Kim
course.
was in fourth.
fifth.
Yeah. Yeah, Kim was in 5th. You're right.
Damn.
Also give Lisa what she deserved. Okay, good TV and
Nothing.
also good,
Absolutely nothing.
No.
I'm with
No.
you, Mari.
Nothing.
Absolutely not.
she was good TV.
We
But
are
who
not. We
Toronto
are
has
not
no
Lisa
haters. I have left
defenders
this
here.
world.
So so Gia, anybody that you were looking to see on this documentary that you didn't see, or anybody that stood out from you that you did get to see come back?
I mean, in terms of who I wish we had seen,
Sure.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if it would have been like it would have contributed to this conversation of like the thesis statement of the show, but obviously I want to hear from Jade, the undiscovered supermodel,
the queen,
like
the queen, the
queen.
queen.
I want
the queen.
she should have had like a Tiffany New York Pollard level like reality TV
Absolutely.
run from that. Like she should have
Yes.
made reality TV her job, and it's a shame that she did not do that. But I really like Cycle 6 is just my favorite. Like that is cinema to me.
So
I'm
good.
glad we got the Takara shout out because she deserves so much better, but I was a little sad we didn't get to see. I would love to hear from her. I know she is like, she does have fame, but I would just love to hear from just more about her. Like, girl, what are you doing? You know, like,
Yeah.
Just come say hi. You know, we're excited to see you.
What's going on?
What's going on, girl? Like, we don't have to talk about Top Model. You can just tell us about your day. That's fine.
Just tell us anything.
But I was really excited. I mean, I guess, I don't know if excited's the right word, like, because I was excited, but a lot of what they're talking about is some really deep stuff. that I wish they didn't have to experience for them to be featured in a America's Next Top Model documentary like this. But I was really excited to see, like, do the Where Are We Now, essentially, of some of my favorite models that I watched growing up. I talked about Dion. I loved Danny. Like, that whole season was just immaculate to me. I was really excited that we got to hear from Ebony, that she was, like, a focal point of the show. And I have to agree with Haley as well. I think that top two of Joni and Danielle is kind of unmatched. And then also seeing them both in this documentary, it was cool to see.
And like speaking fondly of each other too. Like
yes, I'm like, are you guys still friends? Like, do you chat? Do you follow each other on Instagram? Like, what's going on? But I did really like the segment that came with the credits at the very, very end of it, where we actually got to hear them all talk about basically like what they do now. But outside, some of them are still in the fashion world, some of them are very far removed from it. So it was great to see it.
One person we have gone an hour and 20 minutes without talking about is Tiffany. How have we not talked about the scream heard around the world with Tiffany? We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. Another moment that put the show on the map in so many ways. SNL parodies, Family Guy parodies, all these other things. And then if you've been paying attention over the years, you would know that if you've just even been keeping like one eye on anything that Tiffany has said, that she did not appreciate this, right? Like those initial interviews, she'll talk about it, or she's like, Tyra loved me. It was just part of the industry, you know, she was trying to look out for me. But Mari, some of the stuff that is coming out that she said to her, Jay said they couldn't even air half of Tyra's rant, which is wild.
Very wild. Can I just say the documentary really did, they start with it, right? They start with it and then they lead into episode 3 with it. And this was the moment that really, you know, of course, catapults America's Next Top Model. It is the water cooler moment, one of the big water cooler moments. And I remember originally watching that and being in Tyra's shoes, because I was like, yes, Tiffany was one of my favorites that season. I thought she had it in her to win. I was frustrated with her too, because
I was rooting for her. Yeah.
I was rooting for her, you know? But then watching it back in this documentary was so cringy. I was just like, oh my God. And for the first time in seeing that clip, I was in Tiffany's shoes. And having somebody yell and berate me because she didn't like how I handled how she just rejected me. And on top of that, it was after a challenge where they had to read this teleprompter with intentionally big words. And Haley, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like it came out later that like Tiffany had some issues with like a learning disability or reading or something like that, or it was some trauma from her. I could be misquoting it, but I think there was some trauma for her when it comes to like reading out loud. And the way that they're like, read this teleprompter or you're going home, it's just like, why? This has nothing to do with modeling. Like, reading a teleprompter doesn't mean shit. And it was also the double elimination. So it felt like the only reason there was a double elimination, like Tiffany wasn't going to be eliminated. But because Tyra says to her, like, read this or you're going home. And she's like, no, I don't want to be humiliated on national TV. Y'all are making me look stupid on national TV. Now we have to frame it as she gave up. Now we have to frame it as you're not working hard enough. Oh, now we have to frame it as like, she wants to give up before she's rejected. It was bullshit. And to like go back and watch it from that perspective as an adult and actually watching the full thing play out, and not just like we use that GIF all the time. That GIF is just so perfect. You know what I'm saying? For every reaction to anything that happens. And so to actually sit there and watch it and see what's going on, I'm like, man, Tyra, like, again, fuck you for that. Like, like, why are you doing this to these women? She does not have to act sad because you want her to act sad because you just eliminated her. Like, get over yourself.
And they like, so two things. Rebecca was always going home this episode because she had something happen at home where she said, like, I need to tap out, and they said, okay, great, we'll eliminate you. They also talked about like Tiffany being there in a previous season and not making it through, and then they like worked closely with her and brought her through anger management, and she's like really like came back on season 4 as like such a like a different person, and then they were trying to break her the entire time, and she just like didn't play into it. And I like standing in here now, you go, oh my god, I'm so proud of her for like not letting them get to her. And then Tyra screaming in her face and her just being like, I'll take it. Yeah, like, okay. Like, I'll try and get my piece in, but Tyra wouldn't let her. And yeah, I just have like so much respect for Tiffany on this side of things now.
It's tough because it's definitely one of the things that, like you said, Mari, it's a meme that people use constantly. People say, we were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. I think in the real time when I watched this, I thought Tyra had lost her mind, but not because like, why are you yelling at her like that? But more because I didn't think Tiffany did anything to elicit that type of response. You know,
no,
like,
she really was just being like jovial and saying goodbye to her friends
said,
and like,
hey guys, don't cry. Like, it'll be okay.
She basically was just not as sad as they wanted her.
They wanted her to be.
They wanted her to fall to her knees and be like, "No, this is my chance, Tyra, please." So we got a response from Tiffany. I don't know if y'all have seen that, but Tiffany responded on social media. Hold up at Tyra Banks. Let's keep it cute. You are one lying, tired ass bitch. You know how you treated me the whole time, off and on camera. You was a bully, treated me like shit, and said the nastiest things about me and my son. This is not how the argument went, but y'all edited to make me look like you cared. Also, fuck the shade room. Fuck your weird ass fans. Fuck you, Tyra Banks. I bet you won't sit down with me face to face and talk about it. Also, some other stuff about her family. I got more money and I'm helping people other than people than all or many of the top models. But that's the update y'all give. Damn shame. It's just giving y'all still hating on my little black ass. Ho, just let it go. It's been over 20 years, Tyra Banks. You know, even Tiffany is another person who was a victim in this situation. She didn't do anything to ask for all of that. She didn't. I still want to know the transcript of what Tyra actually said to her.
Me too. Because I'm dying to know.
Because everyone keeps saying like, no, they had to cut out some of the stuff. They said the lawyers were brought in the next day.
Yeah, Nole Marin's like one appearance in the entire documentary.
He said, like, hey, him and his
they
dog,
had the lawyers there. Like, oh, okay, hello, Nole Marin. Like, what are we doing here?
No introduction, just Nole.
I wasn't in it. You know, they had nothing to do with me. I don't know. I just was there when the lawyers got there.
The one person I would have really loved to have heard from was Angelique. She won All Stars before she was told that she had broken some rule of the game show or whatever, and then her win was handed to Lisa D'Amato. And Angelique seems to be doing really well for herself. She's a news anchor in Buffalo, which is so cool. But I just would have loved to hear her perspective.
Oh yeah.
I think I met her at Howard one year.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I did once. Yeah, when I freaking tell you that story pisses me off. They brought her on TV. She goes home, has no recourse, resorts to escort work. It's okay, whatever. We're sex work positive here. And then she comes back on the show. She killed All Stars. Absolutely destroyed All Stars. And is gonna get the win, but because of some morality clause.
Bullshit. One of the worst reality television shows is telling me that like there's a morality clause. And because these women were like,
grow up.
These women had to resort to things that they didn't want to do because they weren't helped, right? Like you can't sit here and tell me that like that's Angelique's fault at all.
Gia,
Yeah.
the biggest shock that I had in this documentary, aside from the Shandi part, obviously, was when they talked about the race swap, and then they said, and then they did it again. Your
I
boy had been
remember
tapped
them
out.
doing it again. I watched
I
both
remember the
seasons
second one, and
Yes.
then I totally forgot about the first one until I saw it again.
because I remember because they really tried to sell it to us too, of like, oh yeah, like this is huge. You get to like experience a different culture and all this other stuff. I'm like, this was so messed up. I can't believe I was like, oh, this is like
They
this
said-
this is artistry. But
And the second time around, it was in the short girl season, and they had gone to Hawaii
Yes.
as they're overseas. And the challenge was, and I think this is what it is. It was like Hapa. So it's like two cultures mixed in one. And so they
Yep.
would just be like, be
They-
more Egyptian. Be more.
Yep.
they
Feel
gave
what
About
the
what those people
Egyptian-
have gone through.
Exactly.
they gave two like, and it got backlash the first time they did it,
Yeah.
right? Like this was not something that like, oh, now that we look at it like 20 years later, this wasn't really a good idea. No, they got backlash immediately. Like even then people knew that this was a fucked up thing to do. And then they did it again. And I would say maybe arguably even more offensive the second time, because they're like, we're going to mix two cultures to make you like a new biracial essentially. And we're going to lean heavily into the stereotypes of both of those cultures to sell it to people. I'm like,
We're
And
gonna
guess
spend
who the
double the amount.
photographer was? Guess who
Tyra.
the photographer was? Tyra
Yep.
fucking Banks. It was her idea. Girl, if you don't square up.
Fight me. Yeah, this is around the 19th season cycle, as they call them, and yeah, they're doing all the gimmicks now. We got to do the short girl season. For some reason the British people are here. I don't know. Celebrity mentors, Ashton Kutcher, you know, they kind of show Tyra almost grasping to keep the show on the air.
They didn't even talk about like the terrible social media aspect where people would like vote, so like
hated that
everyone
one.
had to do it. And
I
then
hated that one.
it was just, and then bringing in the boys who were like awful.
Okay, the boys are good. Shout out to Will. What? Will, Niall, and what is his name? Dama, whatever. Those
I
are my
do know Niall because he's like an
Don,
actor
Don.
now and stuff.
Yeah, Niall.
Niall's like an actor now and
Yeah,
everything.
He's like
proper
legit.
famous.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
really, really famous. Yeah,
I did not
Niall,
watch the men's season.
Will from Will and James from Amazing Race.
Oh yeah,
Will-
yeah, he was fabulous.
Yes.
He was the one who was bullied.
Yeah, I
really
famously.
liked him.
And then Don, who he's not the Denzel with the fake the man beard.
fake
Oh
beard.
my God, I'll
the
never
beard
forget.
wig.
The beard weave. Yeah, the beard wig, lace front.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I felt hook, line, and sinker for the.
I was
the
nowhere
Haskell
near this
season.
show by
Wait,
this
is
time,
it
so I didn't know
Don?
any of this.
Don Benjamin? Is that his
Yeah,
name?
with the
Yeah.
light. He has the light hair. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, him.
Oh
Don.
yeah,
Got
he was good.
I was long gone, like most of the fans by this time.
Those seasons I only
I-
watched recently.
Once.
I actually only like I saw Niall in a TV show,
He's
right?
so
Like he had like a
gorgeous.
guest spot. Yeah,
He did.
gorgeous man. And then only learned after the fact. I'm like, oh, this guy's talented. Like this is really cool.
He's from
Where-
here.
Yeah.
This-
And learned after the fact that like this is his what I assume is his villain origin story.
Basically,
Well, he's a death advocate. So
Yes.
Mhm.
But if he were to turn into a villain, I would understand.
Yeah,
This
you
is-
should see what some of the stuff they pulled on him. They
Go
made
ahead.
him do a photo shoot in the dark where the only camera cue was them going 3, 2, 1, shoot. And obviously
God,
couldn't
I
hear.
forgot
So
about
then
that.
Yusai, who was also awful, would like shine a flashlight at him, and then he had to like take the picture. It was
I forgot
brutal.
about
And he
that.
basically only like
Jail.
communicated through like
Everybody.
a text like service on the
Oh
phone.
yeah.
And then like one of his contestants would like take his phone all the time to like take pictures and stuff.
I
Forgot about all of that, Haley.
I know.
I think we should give Niall DeMarco a gun.
So this is around the time Tyra gets her no sacred cow speech from the people, and she has to force
Impactful. I thought that was an impactful speech because she was right.
Yeah, she's told, hey, you gotta cut your friends or you're gonna get cut. she ends up cutting her friends, and then she gets cut. Rita Ora ends up taking over. But the friendships seems like they're kind of severed at this point. Nigel is like, hey, I had my whole life wrapped around this, and then I had to go figure out a way to get booked and busy. He does. He ends up pretty successful outside of the show.
No, you have to find a job that you told
I
us
have
you
to get a
had.
real job. Jay Manuel got a contract and with E and ended up writing a novel about the show, basically. And then Miss J was all over the place, everywhere, had a contract at SCAD, and recently Miss J had a stroke in 2022, and now there's this great tragedy, like tragic irony, Mari, of the man who taught everybody how to walk can no longer walk, and Tyra has not come to visit.
This was so sad. This was sad. Like, again, judges are not the victims here, but just like you said, that tragic irony of Miss J, the runway expert or the runway extraordinaire, cannot currently walk, is probably one of the saddest, like a sad thing to come out of this. But I did like the moment where they brought Nigel and Jay, both Jays together, and they had their moment, and they had a touching moment. And again, it was a good moment. Should it be in this exposing America's Next Top Model documentary? Don't know if it should be, because again, you guys were horrible to these women. This is not going to make me forget y'all were horrible to these women. However, seeing Miss J struggle, but also seeing her realize that, like, I was here, but now I'm here because Jay was like, you're getting better. Him and Nigel were like, you're getting better. Like, I think seeing in real time that Jay Alexander was like, they're right. Like, I was once like in an even worse off position. And, I like that, but also it's hard, right? Because they're not the victims.
I do have a soft spot for Miss J.
I do. I
even to this day, I'm like, okay, but if we're ranking them,
how
horrible they were. Like, Miss J's kind of low on the list.
Probably not. They're probably. Don't correct me. Miss J was on every one of those judging panels, and I don't remember Miss J being like, "Janet, stop calling people fat."
I know. Listen, am I wrong?
He wasn't on all of them, but once he got on the panel, they weren't taking Jay off, and Jay was on pretty much every episode of the show. They allude to Tyra even having some type of jealousy because the Jays were more recognizable. That's not Beyonce. That's not New York. That's Tyra Banks. And so here, or that's not Heidi, I guess I should say. Now here we find out that Miss J, who cannot walk, but has been working on it, says Tyra has not reached out, or Tyra has texted him recently, but has not come to visit. But Haley, to me, now would be a very opportune time to visit, because Tyra announces that we shouldn't have to wait too long to see what happens for cycle 25.
You know what I don't trust? Cycle 25. Did anybody watch her stint of hosting Dancing with the Stars? It was awful. Also, sorry, she's running an ice cream shop in Australia. What do you mean she's going to come back for cycle 25?
Cycle 25. Was she joking, Haley, or is this really going to happen?
I think she was serious. I don't think it's going to happen.
Could you imagine,
yes,
Mari, just the vitriol that the show is getting right now, and then them still being like, and we brought it back? Like, there's just no way, right?
They already did that with cycle 24.
Hear me out.
The new,
I do think that a cycle 25. I think the new. They said it in this documentary, but I had been thinking about it the whole time before they even got to it in the third part. I actually do think if they brought America's Next Top Model back now, it would actually be beneficial for the women who are on there, just because there is just way less gatekeeping in the modeling industry now. Like, Danny winning and being forced to sit in a model house and not getting leased out could not happen today with the rise of social media, and just being able to make a living as an influencer. And this type of exposure for models would actually be appropriate, as opposed to somebody who goes on Big Brother just to get this exposure. It would actually make sense. Also, I think if they came back, what they should really do is work with independent social media artists, like independent designers, independent photographers. You know what I'm saying? Actually work that social media angle, not how they did it in that stupid ass season where they try to say we had a vote through social media, even though it was recorded first. I think all they showed us was the pictures and then we had to vote on it. Was stupid. Not like that. Like actually doing this the right way. Oh, I would. Oh, I have to hold her accountable. I have to watch so I can hold them accountable.
Yeah, you got to make sure they're not mistreating anybody. Gia, what were you going to say?
I think it's different because the idea of America's Next Top Model is that they are preparing these young women for the cutthroat world of the modeling industry. But in reality, as we saw, like specifically through Danny, that actually being on America's Next Top Model can limit your options in the fashion industry. But now a lot of people that go on TV afterwards, they learn that they make money as an influencer. Even some of our most popular, like the most famous of the America's Next Top Model contestants are famous now because they did work besides modeling. So if I think that the idea or like the premise of America's Next Top Model, like it still probably isn't going to prepare you for a high fashion cutthroat modeling world, like of like some of the brands that we know the most to be like luxury brands. But if you want some exposure, you want to try your chance at reality TV, it's not a bad gig to get.
Haley Strong, if we remove all the cruelty, all the torture, the shame, is this show even watchable? Mari's living in a dream world. If we're not making women who are afraid of cockroaches hold cockroaches, what are we doing?
I think you have a show now. I don't think you would have had one then. I think you could do it for the art now. Okay. Yes. I don't know if anybody watched this latest season of Project Runway, where
it was awful.
It was awful. It did feel less like it didn't feel like old Project Runway.
There was too many group challenges.
Like there were so many group challenges.
Listen, that was the problem.
So many day one challenges.
I hated the one day challenges.
Chappell, they voted. They let the contestants vote someone out.
Oh.
So maybe that's Survivor now? So maybe Project Runway is not a good example.
Not this most
season, no. Haley, it might just be where we are though. I don't know if this show has the appeal because I don't know if reality TV has like that dramatic reality TV exists anymore. So I think you're creating a whole new thing here, right? Like this is not, like Mari was saying, like you have to retool this completely. It's not the panel of judges who tell you what's wrong with your body. It's how do I make what I do have right with my body or what I do like about my body? How do I make that stand out? How do I like really accentuate the good things about me as opposed to tearing down the bad things about me? And I think that I don't know if people have that go up for that the same way they do the bloodlust that they get from like the olden days of reality TV. I mean, even if you look at the way we watch Survivor, right? The fandom is always like, bring back old Survivor. I'm like, it wasn't even like, I love old Survivor, but like there were a lot of episodes where we were just sitting around watching.
They terrorized people on old
Survivor. It wasn't nice, but it was like you got your pound of flesh. I don't know what networks picks this up to be like, and now we're going to put this on TV. People are going to also tune into it to see us all uplifting each other. Like it just feels like that's a different America, and subsequent other Americas that we don't live in.
I think that's fair enough.
Could you imagine? It's like your best picture as chosen by the AI.
Right.
Oh my God.
It's AI Antm.
They're going to do that now.
And honestly, it's probably not outside of the realm, right? Like, it's like, how do you take your photo and then make it look better through retouching it? I remember, man, when they were talking, I forgot that little clip that they put in the episode where they said, like, yeah, I thought you were going to retouch that. Do you know how much it costs to retouch then? Like, now
I can do it for free on Lightroom now.
Right. A filter for that. So I don't know if Cycle 25 is serious or not, But I do think more times than not, the people who watch this documentary, they might not be tuning in for the whole season, but I think they might get some eyes on it just to kind of see. Like Mari says, I gotta hold them accountable. At this point, I need to see if if you've learned anything. Is there if we're able to move forward, does this even work? And can you still capture some of the magic that made people tune in week to week and why this was the biggest show that UPN had ever seen? So I guess we'll just have to wait and find out if this isn't just some, troll from Tyra Banks. But this has been such a fun conversation. Haley, thank you for joining us with all your expertise.
I loved being here. When I saw the trailer come out, I was really hoping you'd do something about it. And I think you texted me about 15 minutes after and said, Absolutely. Are you available? So thank you for having me.
No, thank you for coming. And Gia, did you give the people the lashings as much as you need? Do you need 5 more minutes to yell at Tyra Banks?
Oh, Lord. And another thing.
Yes, yeah. But we're already almost like, yes, but I think we might just need to like have a separate section on podcasts. It's like Gia's rants.
I was gonna say you should open a Cameo, and then if people want to pay for your extra rants, they can.
I need to get see. Here's the thing. I think I need to get on reality TV so that people will pay for my cameos.
Oh, fair.
But also because I'll just tell them I have one loved one. His name is Chappell, and then Chappell is forced to be in all of my videos because then he's writing my letter from home on Big Brother.
Yeah,
that's how we force Chappell to get screen time on here. This is how we trick him.
This is how we trick me into being on
TV show.
On TV.
I think I need to be famous first before people will pay for my rants. But I think I got enough lashings in for this one episode.
All right. Well, Gia, tell everybody where they can find you, what you got going on.
I mean, if you want me to lash out at any particular reality TV show or person, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Bluesky, at ClassicallyGia for all of my reality TV shenanigans. Survivor 50 is going to start airing tomorrow, which will be fun, and I'll be back doing recaps both on Silent Podcasts and on Inside Survivor with Christine Palin. And Chappell and I just recorded an episode of Bet on Black. So I have a Substack called Bet on Black. I ask that you all follow or subscribe. It's free to do so if you so choose. But Chappell and I are doing like a complimentary podcast to talk about some of our favorite Black Survivor and other reality TV show players, winners. We just recorded an episode on Vesepia, so that'll be out soon. And I think we are going to Top Chef next. Once
I binge a season.
Yes. Once Chappell watches season 23. So, was it 22 or 23?
What a good question you're asking me.
Yes.
I don't know numbers.
It was
this whole era of Survivor has been really tough for me.
I actually hate that everything is by numbers now. But also I hate that this past season of Top Chef was called Destination Canada, and they were only in like one area of Canada for the majority of it. Like,
it was the destination.
They said Destination Canada though. Like, it wasn't like.
I thought they were going everywhere, but
they made it seem like it was gonna be a little road trippy.
Yeah, like they mostly hung out on a soundstage just outside of Toronto. They came and visited Niagara, and then they went to Calgary and Canmore.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it was, and then they went to Italy. They went
to Italy, which is not Canada, but
without Massimo, which is a whole thing. You'll figure it out.
Chappell. I can't wait for you to meet Massimo.
I
can't wait to meet him.
It's great. It's gonna be great. But yes, so all of that.
Haley, what about you? You're about to enter your busy season.
I'm about to enter a busy season after a long, slow season. Top Chef and The Bachelorette are about to come back, and you'll find my coverage on, I don't know, you just Google it. You'll find it if you want to find it. It's around. You'll find it. If you know, you know. Like, if you know where to find this podcast, you probably know where to find those ones too, if we're being honest with each other. I was also on an episode of the Ready to Be Romance podcast talking about part 1 of season 4 of Bridgerton. Part 2 of the season's about to come out, and I'm so excited. I love the Bridgerton books. Speaking of books, I have a Bookstagram account at the Strong Library where I rate and review a lot of books. And you'll find, you'll find some reality TV ones this past year.
I think I followed your regular Instagram, but not your Bookstagram. Or is that the same one?
Nope, they're different.
Okay.
That's a great follow.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Guys.
Wait, what's the name again?
The Strong Library,
which is awesome branding. Thank you, Haley. Mari got a crazy idea. So people have been saying like, y'all should do a Patreon. I was like, what are we going to put behind the paywall? When we do our America's Next Top Model rewatch, that's behind the paywall. You down for something like that? Potentially.
Oh yeah. Normally you don't have to pay me to talk about America's Next Top Model, but you will. You will. I'm telling that to the audience. The audience, you have to pay me to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
What else do you have going on, Mari?
Well, you can find me over on Bluesky at Mari Talks Too Much. That's 2, like the number 2. Please follow me over there. Talking about a whole bunch of things. Again, currently going through Love Is Blind right now. That is my longest thread on there. Talking about the horribleness that is that, and I talk all things reality TV. It's a big week for reality TV, so I'm pretty sure I'll be skating about all of that stuff. But of course, if you want to hear more from me, especially more about my love of crime scenes, you can follow me over on Crime Scene Pod. That's crime SEEN pod.com. You go there, you can subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Me and Sarah Carradine talk true crimes. We just did yes, thank you. We just did a double feature where we talked about Wild Boys, Strangers in Town on Paramount Plus, and Girl on the Run, which was on Hulu. I don't know why we did it, but we did it. We pushed through. So go check those out. You can also go to buymeacoffee.com/crime-scene-pod. You can become a supporter, sling us a couple bucks, either monthly, one-time payment. If you do, you'll get access to our podcast early and ad-free. You'll also get access to merch over there. So make sure you support us there. But that's it for me. How about you, Chappell?
Well, here on Recap Kickback, we got a lot going on. Gia's already talked about our collaboration with her Substack, so check out our Vesepia video very soon. Top Chef coming soon as well. But if you're into hearing me talk about old reality TV shows, you're in luck, because Chantel and I have been watching The Flavor of Love. We've gone through The Flavor of Love. We've gone through The Flavor of Love Season 2, and now we are on our way halfway through I Love New York Season 1 live on YouTube. And so come subscribe to the podcast, recapkickback.com/subscribe, or to catch our YouTube videos, youtube.com/@recapkickback. Mari and I have a ton of content. Gia and I talk about Abbott Elementary. It's a fun time over here. So if you just found this because you wanted to hear somebody rant about America's Next Top Model, stick around for a while. Subscribe to the podcast, hit that like button, and tell your friends about Recap Kickback, because we're going to be here as long as I can keep this baby alive, Haley. So that's it for the entire panel and for all the victims and those who have been victimized by Tyra Banks. You ain't got to go home, but we'll catch y'all next time here on Recap Kickback. Peace.
I've been trapped behind Suave Maria, isolated like it's North Korea. Smaller city with some bigger dreams. The wall is cracked, I'm looking in between it. The world is yours, but man, I gotta see it. They say it's hard, but man, I gotta see it. The air I'm breathing can't feel my chest. Wait on life, I wanna hold my breath. I'ma get in my goddamn self.